CoastLife. It is Tuesday, and we can't go through a Tuesday without doing, and I prepped Charlie for this, our great debate. Yes, yeah, we got the echo.
That's my first try.
That's all right, you nailed it. And we often turn things over to our viewers to chime in on this, and this is one that this has been kind of heated in the office because people do have strong opinions about board games or card games. Which one are you picking, Charlie?
I'm going card games, and let me tell you why I'm going card games.
Card games.
Because I think that both are great. I love playing board games. I love playing card games. But some of the greatest experiences with my family that I've ever had, especially where my grandparents were involved, because they're from Kentucky, they're old school, was playing spades and different games like that. You can play it with a big group. It's not limited to 4 or 5 players.
That's
you can
true.
get a lot of people involved. You can get pretty heated over
also
what's
true.
going on. There's some strategy. You've never played a game until you've had your sweet grandmother from the other side of the table look at you with eyes like, I can't believe you played that card. Why would you do that to me?
Now, when it comes to card games, would you include things like Cards Against Humanity and Uno?
I would include Uno. Cards Against Humanity is, to me, almost its own category, but it's more board game-ish than it is card game-ish. I think that card games, for the most part, I know what I said about Uno, but for the most part, strictly to the deck of cards. If you have to bring in something separate than that, then to me it starts to get in that gray middle area.
Feels more like a board game. Okay,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I will go board games. And honestly, this was a hard one for me because neither one is necessarily my preference. I tend to like word games, like Catchphrase is one of my favorite games.
Tremendous game.
And I especially love like drawing games. So I guess board games sometimes fall under that. Like Pictionary is a board game. Favorite board game of all time. I dominate in Pictionary. Categories, I think, is also word game.
Categories is on the top tier of great games to play.
I love Categories.
And I will tell you quickly, my wife, Leah, now I fancy myself, so if you're at home, I don't know if you know this about me. A bit of a wordsmith. My wife beats me at Categories by like 1 every single time we play. And it is both incredibly frustrating and extremely attractive. I don't know. I love that she's also that type of person.
That's how my siblings and I were always very competitive Categories players. So nothing like a game to bring out the sibling rivalries. But I do love the way that games bring everybody together.
Yes.
I know, especially with some of the bad weather that we had. I mean, that's the perfect time to pull out
Great time
card
to play
game or board
games.
game.
A little Catan in here. Go for the longest road.
No. So I know you picked card games, and I think overall you can travel with them a lot easier. They can be camping games, they can be vacation games.
Yeah.
But what are your feelings on like Risk and Catan?
So Risk, tremendous game. I love it, but you've got to carve out like 8 hours to play Risk. It is legitimately in real time world domination. Like it takes a long time to play that game. For Catan, I love it. Not only did I like playing the actual board game, but during the pandemic, my wife and I downloaded the app so we could play it on there because you could play it quicker.
Yeah, so my favorites are a very select few board games. They've got to be the quick action because I'm not a strategist. If there's one thing I've learned in my life, strategy games, not my thing. So I'm going to go board games. You're going card games. And I think that's pretty good. You can always chime in on our socials, Facebook, Instagram. You can check out the poll, coasttv.com/greatdebate/vote rather, and get your answers in. And we'll revisit this at the end of the week.
And more importantly, we need to know who won the great debate. You got to go vote so we get an answer.
There you go. But we do have a little bit more Coast Life. Charlie's got to run down the hall and get ready for Coast TV News at 5. But we still have a little more coming your way.